folks, welcome back to the Shifting Schools podcast. My name is Trisha Friedman, and this episode poses a question to your school community. Does your school community host a World of Work event or a career fair? Well, in what way has that event or opportunity evolved to meet the needs of the modern learner? Now, in this episode, I am going to point you to a potential answer that might help you think about better meeting the needs of your students and their families. And I'm also going to explain some of the context that I think we need to sit with in order to better reimagine events like those that are helping students connect the work they are doing in the classroom today with the pathway that they want to carve out for themselves tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in to this episode. Now, there's going to be lots of links for you over there in the show notes, and I want to talk to you briefly about the research that suggests whenever we have a big innovation in technology, that actually more jobs are created. So often we will hear sort of some fear when a new technology emerges that it's going to eliminate jobs or that folks are going to be replaced by machines. And what's interesting in this research is that the exact opposite appears to be true. Now, you might be saying, Trisha, what about ChatGPT and this AI boom? Certainly, this is going to eliminate jobs. Well, I think actually a better question is, how is it going to perhaps change some of the things that we are already doing? And putting that research to the test, this AI boom has already created a whole new type of career, and that is the prompt engineer. I'm going to link to an article from the Washington Post that's entitled Tech's Hottest New Job, AI Whisperer, No Coding Required. Prompt engineers are being hired for their skill in getting AI systems to produce exactly what they want, and they make pretty good money. Now, this is a really interesting job because if you've been listening to Jeff and I, or you have checked out any of our resources on ChatGPT, our advice has been to play around, to use our shift framework in prompting ChatGPT to get you to do what you need it to do. So you might be wondering, what does a prompt engineer do? Well, according to this article from the Washington Post, prompt engineers, quote, profess to operate at the maximum limits of what these AI tools can do, understanding their flaws, supercharging their strengths, and gaming out complex strategies to turn simple inputs into results that are truly unique. And this is why you have heard Jeff and I go on and on and on about the equity issue that is banning tools like these in schools. If the AI boom is going to create a lot of future jobs, is going to influence the world of learning in higher ed, to what extent do we actually have a responsibility to make sure that students are becoming more aware of what those limits are, what the flaws are, and what the potential opportunities are as well? So I'm also going to link to some research where Dell Technologies has predicted that 85% of the jobs in 2030, that's not that far off, haven't been invented yet. So folks, if you have a job fair, if you have a World of Work experience, are you inviting folks to really share in emerging industries, in careers that didn't exist a few years ago? Are you inviting any guest speakers to really point to what they have had to do to upskill themselves in regards to this ever-evolving landscape of technology? Are you having folks come in and say, here's how my work has changed, here's the learning that I have had to do specifically? Jeff and I were recently having a conversation about the way in which social media is also influencing trades work. Now, if you are on TikTok, you may already be aware that If you can name a niche, you can find that niche on TikTok. The same is true for trades professions. If I head on over to my TikTok app and I open it up and I search for hashtag electrician, I can find out a whole lot about what it's like to become an electrician, what that career pathway is like, as well as how they are recruiting and trying to develop interest in becoming an electrician. Now, we already see that for the generation we are teaching, TikTok has replaced Google. If younger folks are looking for a restaurant to check out, they're no longer hitting up Google first. They're hitting up TikTok. So if we are talking about helping our students figure out, get curious about future career pathways, to what extent have we actually gone through that experience of using TikTok as a search engine to make sure that we understand actually which accounts have value, to make sure that we can talk with our students about how they might be actually already using TikTok to learn more about industries that they are passionate about. And I really think it's a conversation we want to be having alongside of our students, because TikTok, like all social media, can also have mis and disinformation. So I think it's a great idea to ask students in high school, have you used TikTok to search and learn more about any of the industries that you are interested in exploring? I think their answers might surprise you. In the show notes, I will link to a few accounts that I have been absolutely amazed by, where I think they are doing a really good job of educating and building awareness up about that industry. The final link that we have for you over there in the show notes takes you over to our Shifting Schools Future World of Work playlist. Because here's the thing, job fairs, they probably are useful to some students. Are they useful to all students, to all families? Probably not. And I think it's always good to poll families to see to what extent any of our school events are meeting their needs, to see how we can improve them. But if we've learned one thing from the pandemic, I think it is the power of asynchronous learning, of being able to have learning where we want it, when we want it, at the pace that we need. So our Future World of Work playlist sets you up with 7 different specific episodes that students can listen to, that families can listen to get a better sense of what's changing in the world of work, and to also get excited about some potential pathways that perhaps have not yet been considered or discussed. We talk a lot about how students in high school can start now to network, to find direct and indirect mentors, about how the art and craft of collaboration is shifting. How when as educators we're telling our students that collaboration is important, they're going to hear from folks from a wide variety of industries explain why we keep talking about that. We also know that the job sector around data has absolutely exploded. I think that that's going to continue to be a trend. So we have a few different professionals talking about how they work in that world of data. We also have a conversation about how businesses can go through the auditing process of creating a values map. And we also talk about some STEM positions that are interdisciplinary, how science and writing have connected. We have a professional YouTuber talking all about how she got her own PBS channel on YouTube. Also, how she became a columnist for Wired, writing all about games. And she talks about what it means to learn to write for different mediums, what it means to write for video. So again, that playlist is there. And we think the power of the playlist is not only that it offers us an asynchronous opportunity to learn, but also that it provides so much choice. What if you asked your juniors to listen to just 2 episodes? What if you set them up with a note-taking template for them to reflect on how their learning today connects with that future pathway? And we asked every single one of the guests in that playlist to be explicit in making that pivot and making that connection of how their experience as a student helped set them up to where they are. We asked them to speak specifically to the skills that they know are so important in their job. So I think as we are helping students make those connections and seeing the value in what they are doing today, it's really helpful to give them some solid examples of folks in emerging professions so that when we are talking about how important it is to be more self-aware, students can see that we're not saying that just because we believe it's good, but because we know it is useful to them in the present day, and it's going to be useful to them in the future day too. Listeners, we love hearing back from you. So if you are using our episodes from that Future World of Work playlist, hit Jeff and I up. When you head over to shiftingschools.com, there's a little microphone. You can send us a voice memo and let us know how you used any of those episodes. Lastly, just a reminder, we are only days away from our webinar where Jeff and I are exploring what it means to reimagine assessment to be truly linked to skills in this era of AI that we are in. Registration for that event is still open. Seats are $45 US. We'd love to see you there. And if you can't make it for the live webinar, when you register, you sign up to get the recording as well as all of the resources. And be sure to head on over to shiftingschools.com to learn all about that webinar. As always, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.